And my daughters, I'm not just some ex-wrestler who doesn't have a purpose. I'm also a parent. I'll punish you.
So sweet.
Thank you for watching Den of Geek. My name is Niko, and I'm here with a very special guest, WWE superstar, 7-time world heavyweight champion, and the star of the new Netflix series, The Big Show Show. I give you Paul Wight, a.k.a. The Big Show, everybody. How's it going?
Good. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Good, yeah. Everybody through the TV, right?
Through the TV. To the millions watching at home.
To the millions watching at home. So before we get into The Big Show Show, it's been an interesting few weeks in the wrestling world. And as we saw this new format for WrestleMania, SmackDown, and Raw, how did it feel, wrestling in front of, well, no one due to the recent social distancing circumstances?
Everybody's making a big deal about not having a crowd, and it is a big deal. But if you look at, professional wrestling where it started years ago to local TV markets where there wasn't a crowd in the local TV markets, they were working for the local territories only. So I think it was a great experience for a lot of our younger guys and gals to really experience that environment without the crowd.
What are you made of, huh? Tell me. What are you made of? What are you made of? Huh?
So they had to work to tell a story in their match without necessarily going for cheap pops, if that makes sense. It's a great educational tool. And it's also a great lesson in doing what you have to do to give your fans the best show you possibly can. So over and all, I think what WWE did with it, I think what the talent did was amazing. WrestleMania. There was so many good matches on it, and I don't think anybody held anything back. It was great.
It was amazing. Do you have a new appreciation for what the crowd brings to the live events?
Well, I've always had a great appreciation for it. I started out, if you remember, I started out my first match was against Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc in Detroit in 1995. And then I went through a period of about 10 months where I went to OVW in Louisville, Kentucky. Jim Ross had me on this big weight loss plan back then. I argued with him because I thought to be the giant, I had to be 500 pounds and be a quarter ton of fun, baby. But, JR was trying to look into the future and see the more streamlined athlete. And, I'm 375 today. So I got it a little bit late, but I understood what JR was doing. But I would go out in OVW and some of those shows, and there'd be 7 people there. So I learned way back in 2000 when this went on, 2001, I never took the crowd for granted from then on. Every time we had a house, we worked hard. I really got what it meant to have a crowd to perform in front of. Because I came in, basically the business was hot, the Attitude Era. I didn't understand a lot of things the Undertaker would tell me later on about back in the days with the struggles and no one there, and appreciate sometimes you go to shows to be 100 people. And you appreciate all the crowds I had and the run that I had with all the different talents. It was pretty good. Believe me, I appreciate the crowds.
That's amazing. That's great to hear. But let's get into the Big Show Show.
Please welcome my dad!
Your show is currently number 3 on Netflix, trending worldwide. Did you expect it to be such a hit off the bat? Like, how does that feel?
I'm blown away. I knew that when we were making it, we had something special. I had some friends that dropped by that saw the show. And one of my good friends, and I'm not being gauche and name dropping, but he's somebody that
please name drop.
I'm name dropping. Lenny Kravitz came by one night for one of our tapings, and it was funny. I was with my co-star Allison Munn, and I told our lady in charge, Pixie, that Lenny might be coming by, and gave Lenny her phone number to call him. And but I didn't say anything to the rest of the cast. I know Lenny. Lenny's a rock star, for crying out loud. I know him as Lenny, but the rest of the world knows him as a great rock star,
Oh, yeah.
So I told him, I said, yeah, I'm going to come by and check it out. Okay. So we're sitting on the couch, and we were doing a little a change to the next scene. And my co-star, Allison Munn, looks at me, and she's such a mom because she doesn't even curse in real life. She looks at me, she goes, shut the front door, like that. And I was like, oh, Lenny's here. Like, production stopped. Every girl from like 25 to 55 forgot everything that was going on. My makeup girls forgot what they're doing. My hair girls. some of the girls from Netflix and stuff, like all of them just, Lenny Kravitz. I'm like, hey, yeah, we're still shooting a show here, And my little one, I call them mine, but the girls aren't mine. I don't care. I love them. My little one, Juliet Donafield, plays JJ. She walks up to Lenny and goes, I'm a hugger. And she hugged Lenny right away. So, but Lenny saw the show, and Lenny has known for years that I've talked to him about this, and we have talked about manifesting a destiny and put it in the universe and thinking positive, and if you have a dream or have a goal, to keep trying, to keep applying. This has been 15 years, 16 years in the making of wanting to do something like this and trying to get opportunities and create avenues for this to happen, and also to get people to believe you that you can do this. My WWE knows that I'm very talented and very versatile, but at the same time, to our fans, I've always presented as, kind of one kind of thing. You saw brief snippets, comedic timing here and there, but this is a whole other thing to have a show. The show's in your name, and you have to lead it and carry it. And it's like any other business. You're investing in my ice cream, so to speak. So, I have to make sure that my brand is something everybody wants. And then when we went through the casting, and I got to work with the girls, and Allison Munn and Raylan Castor and Lily Brooks O'Brien, and Juliet Donafield.
Amazing.
So talented, and incredible directors that we come every week, from Bob Carr to Melissa Joan Hart to Phil Lewis. There was just so many great directors that came in and worked with us, and I learned a little bit from each one of them. And to feel like you have this great show, and even Lenny says, man, you've got a good deal. Because, Lenny's mom, of course, was on, the Jeffersons. So he'd been around that set life, So he says, you've got a good vibe here and a good crew. And your fingers are crossed. You're hoping, that the audiences came. And, we had 147 people every week. That's not a big deal, but we sold out every week. Sold out, brother, swinging from the rafters. But every one of those people, I want to make sure they had a good time. And I thanked them before the show and thanked them after the show. And everybody seemed to have a good time, but you don't know till your baby is put into this world, so to speak. And so far, the response has been overwhelming. And that's my bird who's keying in his opinion.
Got it.
This guy knows. He sees me with a microphone. He's going to start yapping.
Kind of piggyback on what you were saying. How different is acting in a television show versus, performing as a WWE superstar? Because, not a lot of people who aren't familiar with the WWE don't realize it's performing, it's acting in its own way. But how does that differ from being on TV?
There's a little bit of difference. What I do in WWE, I play a character with an athletic performance. When you're doing film or TV, there's difference. It's like the one thing that I could never get used to doing films when I first started was the fact that in an action scene, you didn't have to continue all the way to the end, and you do the same scene over and over and over. It didn't mean you screwed up the lines. They were changing looks. They were changing camera angles. Sometimes it was your co-star's angle. Sometimes it was yours. They wanted a different tone. So, and then you don't get to see any of that really until the product is done, and then the guy in the editing room picks what you're going to see, and it's months later and you don't even remember what you did. So when you're doing WWE or sports entertainment, there's an instant reaction and there's a feel with the audience. You can vibe what they're into if you keep your ears open, and you can feel what they're going to buy, what they're not buying, and what they want. It's hard to do in film. You have to trust your instincts and trust the director, the script, and your other actors, and just go for it. With our big show, one, I had two amazing writers, Josh Bissell and Jason Berger. They're amazing. The other writers on our staff were all, I can't even say enough good things about all of them. They were so amazing. The way they would write the point of views of our female characters and showed them empowering and showed them funny and real, and then all the same time how to manipulate this great big giant. But the thing is also with that live audience, I still had that feel, but it was a different feel because I would read the script and say, okay, this will be funny here, this will be funny there, and then sometimes they would laugh at a place that I completely didn't think they would laugh in, just because of something on my face or a reaction Allison or Raylan or Juliet or Lily did, or Jaleel White. My goodness, you have never seen somebody funny till you've been around him. This guy is so talented. just so kind and such a pro. He was so great to work with. I can't say enough good things about him. He was absolutely so much fun to work with. But I kept blowing scenes with him because I started laughing. Because he would just, and he wasn't doing anything off script. He was doing the script, but the emphasis that he put on it was, it just made it funny. Like everything that came out of this guy's mouth was funny. So it's a gift. It's a talent.
What do you think was the hardest thing to adjust to, and what was like the easiest thing to adjust to?
At first, the hardest thing that I thought, oh crap, I might have bitten off more than I could chew, was our first week. I got a script on Friday, and we were going to start on Monday. We came in Monday, did a table read. Monday afternoon, we walked around the set. Might stand here, sit here. They call it putting on its feet. So I was like, okay, this is great. I've already memorized the entire script because I've had it for 3 days. So I know all my lines. I'm ready to go. I show up Tuesday, and there was a script already in my trailer, but I was like, I already got this one. I've made my notes to it. I got my tabs. I'll carry it with me. There's a new script on Tuesday. Then we go through Tuesday, and the writers review it, and then the producers do a run through, and then we get a new script Tuesday night. And then we do it Wednesday. Then the networks and all those people look at it. Then we get a new script Wednesday night. And then we shoot Thursday and Friday. A little bit on Thursdays because we had children. You can only use them so many hours. And then Friday was our live show. So I showed up Tuesday, and they had made a bunch of changes, and I had no idea. I was straight up panicking. I was like, what? Because I'm a guy, I like paper in my hands. Like everybody has their own quirks when it comes to acting, but for me, I need the paper to feel it. I have a tough time pulling it off a computer screen. So I wound up realizing that the runners and stuff that we had there, the ADs, I was taking very good care there and tipping them like hot off the presses, like the fresh newspaper. As soon as that script came out on their way home, they drop it off at my apartment because I live real close to Paramount when I was shooting. And I took good care of those ADs, so I was always prepared. But once I got to the rhythm of it, and then it was easier. But there was a lot of little things. Allison Munn, like sometimes your joke will be on one page, and just because the way it writes out, the joke will finish on the other page. Well, when you're doing run-throughs, sometimes the writers get nervous, and to their credit, like if you don't nail the joke in the run-through, they'll pull it, Yeah. So I learned to okay, if I write my joke so it's on the same page, because you still hold your script when you're doing run-throughs. Okay, my joke's on the same page. Okay, good. That way I could keep my joke, because I kept losing these good jokes in the beginning, and I'm like, why am I losing these jokes? They're good. They said, well, if you stuck on it, which I did, or flubbed it, or said almost the joke just to get through the scene of what we're doing because it was rehearsal, then I learned to be very careful of the jokes I had, my scene dialogue. Allison showed me all that stuff. Little Juliet taught me. The kid showed me how to put little tabs for all the scenes that I'm in so I could flip to them for quick reference. Because I have big fingers and I couldn't turn the pages. And the girls got me straightened out quick, fast, in a hurry, and I caught up. And it was the best fun I've ever had.
And the season's filled with tons of hilarious moments. My personal favorite was I think episode 5 with your daughter's new boyfriend. How that all played out.
Oh, Greg Turbo.
Yeah, Greg Turbo. Yeah, I could totally, because that would be me. I'd be that guy. So what were some of your favorite moments watching back of the show?
It's funny. Greg Turbo was actually, not just piggybacking off of you, but that was one of my favorite episodes because it is such a unique way. If you think about it, if you're a dad and you have daughters, first you want to be intimidating, like Joe said, beat your chest and be that gorilla. But nothing will have your daughter dump the boyfriend any faster than to like the guy. Like, because if they're too close, then she's like, oh no, that's not what we want. He's got to go. So I loved the whole role play when I come home at night late and I'm trying to sneak in like normally the kid would, but she's, up waiting for me, and I try to lie my way out of it and I get busted. So that was one of my favorite ones. Another one of my favorite scenes was also with Raylynn, where her and I had done the TV show, and we had the
that was great.
When we had the argument home from the kitchen, because she is such a fierce young lady. Like, we were arguing in that scene, and I've argued with grown men on TV that couldn't look me in the eye. And she had so much just fire and and self-confidence. She just blew it right back at me when we were in that scene, that it was really good, because it was like you're arguing with your 16-year-old daughter. I mean, like, she's going to fire up on you. She doesn't care if you're the big show or not. You're dad, and she's pissed at you. So, and Juliet, when she had to go to the smart kids school, I love that. That little moment with her. And the one that really made me laugh was Lily Brooks freaking out that she was going to have to move to a hotel, and she wanted my Marriott points. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not coughing up my Marriott points. But
that's
Lily
funny.
Brooks, actually, if you through her whole season, she had such a huge weight load that she carried the entire season so well with her character and the sit-ins and the relationship and with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, she did such an amazing job, and we haven't even really got to some of Lily Brooks' talent yet either. She's really an incredible singer too. So
really?
If we get a season 2, we're gonna hopefully bring that out a little bit more.
I think you're definitely going to get a season 2.
Well, we hope so.
So we saw some wrestlers like Mark Henry, Mick Foley, Rikishi. What WWE superstars could we expect maybe in later seasons?
Well, now that we've had a little bit of success, I think a lot of guys are willing to.
Right.
When it's an unknown product, they're like, but we'll see. I mean, I did Broken Skull sessions with Stone Cold, who hates scripted TV. It's just not his thing. But I got a verbal commitment out of Stone Cold to appear on the show. So Jason and I already have an idea for an episode with Stone Cold and JJ. So we'll work on that. If we get a season 2, we'll work on that. Mark Henry, I want to have back more. I loved, because Mark Henry, one, is one of my closest friends, but Mark on camera was just delightful with the way he played himself on. Just so lovable, and that sweet, nice Texas guy that can tear a car in half with his hands. It's just, and that was such a great episode too, with Mick and Rikishi and Mark, and those guys weren't working because a lot of the guys, are working full time on the road. They were in Europe, they're in Spain, they were in, South Africa. I mean, the guys were working. So, and the guys from my generation that weren't, they came on the show, and they were all big guys, huge guys. They're all great dads. Mark's a great dad. Mick's a great dad. Rikishi's a great dad. So it really balanced that, and my cast and crew loved those 3 guys. Loved them. I mean, I laughed for weeks after we did the episode with the crews, thinking about Mick going, "Tell me why." I laughed so hard, and Rikishi and the crab legs without taking them out of the shell. I mean, it's sad. It's not sad. It's the truth. You put a camera on a bunch of old-time wrestlers from the Attitude Era, they'll know how to get over, and they will get over. And those guys did. They did great.
For me, just like they call them dream matches, this has been a dream interview for me.
Thank you.
I've been watching WWE since I was a kid, and I still watch, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown. Every week, me and my roommates were always watching, and you were actually the very first wrestler I got into as a young kid playing video games. So this is really cool.
Man.
Good little full circle. But so thank you for letting me interview you.
No, it's my pleasure. Here's the thing, people always feel a little bit embarrassed to say that they're lifelong fans, but what fans need to understand is everybody that's in our business that's ever been successful as a WWE superstar was a fan growing up too. That's the whole thing. We're all fans. That's why we're fans of the guys we work with, the gals we work with, because we love our business too. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, congratulations on the show. I'm looking forward to more seasons and more appearances from you on Raw. Maybe you'll be on tonight. Are you on tonight?
You know what? You're going to have to tune in and see. The whole thing with Drew was, and I skipped your question, that was just me proving that Drew was the champion that we need on Raw. I mean, he fought Brock Lesnar, conquered the beast, slayed the beast, conquered the conqueror, and what I did was to prove to everyone, put him in the worst possible situation. After a grueling match like that, and he's got an angry giant breathing down his neck. And they didn't show the camera shot, but after the pinfall when Drew was leaving, I was holding my teeth trying to put them back in my head, but I was smiling because I'm a McIntyre fan. I am, and he proved to everybody why he should be. Yeah,
he's amazing.
Hard, dude. He's worked hard. He's paid his dues, and he's a champion for sure, without a doubt. He's got everything it takes, and he's got it all put together, man. I look for some amazing things down the road from him.
Well, this interview was fantastic. I hope you enjoy the success, and I hope, like I said, I hope I see you on Raw soon. I hope I see more seasons of the Big Show show.
Thanks, man. Where are you based out of?
New York.
New York? Okay, well, cool. Hopefully we'll see you at a show or something. Make sure to say hi.
I will. Take it easy.
All right, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Like the sound of this video? All of our music was licensed from Soundstripe, a subscription-based royalty-free music library for filmmakers, podcasters, YouTubers, and more. Soundstripe. Keep creating.